This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. I know we're not full swing in 2024 yet, but the campaigns are underway, and you would think that Donald Trump would have some kind of a cohesive campaign strategy. He does not seem to have that. In fact, I don't know if it's because of his diminishing grasp on reality and his cognitive decline that is just clear to everyone to see, but his new thing is to go on Truth Social or to stand in front of a couple flags in Mar-a-Lago and read a prepared script that ranges from a minute, maybe 30 seconds, to this clip, which is about a minute 45. One, it's unhinged. It is bizarre. He's just peddling lies and disinformation, hoping we will forget what the economy was like under Trump in the waning days of his administration. But also knowing that it doesn't matter what he says, MAGA world's going to believe it. MAGA world will suspend reality, forget everything that we experienced in 2020, and buy hook, line, and sinker that everything was great. That's kind of the magic of the Trump audience is they don't give a shit. But what I want you to watch, one, listen to what he says, but also watch. Like, I've watched this video a couple times and his eyes are like teary, not because he's emotional, but they're just watery. He doesn't look well. He's wavering around and twitching around. He's just a twitchy freak in these videos. His makeup is inconsistent from one video to the next, from one day to the next, from one appearance to the next. One day he's got an orange hue. The next he's all ruddy complected and has my complexion. Pick one, dude. Donald Trump. Pick a color of your skin and stick with it. If you're going to do the spray tan, fake tan thing, going to ply yourself with pasty color, do it. But make it one thing. You don't lose your tan from one moment to the next if it's a real tan. I mean, you live in Florida, right? Anyway, watch this clip. And then get ready for the data, the statistics. I mean, if your memory is faulty and you don't remember what it was like in the waning days of Donald Trump's administration, because he talks about 3 years from today, and we've got the receipts. But watch twitchy, confused, sickly, watery-eyed Donald Trump deliver a campaign message.
The stakes in this election could not be higher. Next November, you have a choice between war, poverty, and weakness under crooked Joe Biden, or peace, prosperity, and strength under President Donald J. Trump. Just 3 years ago, our economy was booming, the world was safe, and America was strong. Annual incomes went up by more than $6,000 under the Trump administration, and they went down by about $6,000 under the horrible Biden administration, the worst in the history of our country. The 30-year mortgage rate reached a record low of 2.65%. We had no inflation, and we had gasoline down to $1.87 per gallon. I was also the first president in decades who didn't start a war, and I brought our troops back home. We defeated ISIS, and that was it. Everybody came back home where they should be. Under crooked Joe Biden, the economy is in a shambles and the world is going up in flames. Real incomes have gone down by $7,400 per family. Under crooked Joe, gas prices are $4, $5, $6, and $7 a gallon. Cumulative inflation is nearly 20%, and mortgage rates are pushing a brutal 7%, 8%, 9%, 10%, and you can't get the money. We have war in Europe, we have wars in the Middle East, and we are stumbling into World War III. That's what's going to happen with this leadership because they don't know what they're doing. The contrast could not be more stark. The road back to peace, stability, prosperity, and security for your family begins with a landslide Trump victory in 1 year from now. We will make America great again, greater than ever before. Thank you.
The economy was roaring. It was so fantastic, says Donald Trump. 3 years ago, 3 years ago was November 2020. We were pre-vaccine. The election had just happened, and everyone was still very aware that COVID was killing hundreds of thousands of Americans. Ended up being over 1 million Americans died. The economy was not awesome. The economy was not record-breaking in the way Donald Trump wants to convince you, who lived through it, that it was. Gas prices were low, but I wonder why. What was it COVID and nobody was driving? Is that why? Look at this. Let's look at unemployment rates here. 2020, spike. Huge unemployment numbers. Trade in goods. Here's imports and exports. And what's interesting about this one is if you look at 2020, it's down. But look at what it is today. Both imports and exports, which is the economy, they're both higher right now than they were at any point during Donald Trump's administration. How great was that economy? And our GDP, we're the black line here. The GDP is higher today, right now, than it was during at any time in Donald Trump's presidency. Certainly 3 years ago when the world was shut down. Now, look, they can talk about inflation. Inflation's certainly a problem, but inflation is a global problem. It's not a Joe Biden problem. If inflation was Joe Biden's fault, the Germans and the British and the French and every other industrialized country on the planet has Joe Biden to blame. And if they think he has anything to do with their domestic inflation rates, they would be idiots like Donald Trump. Gas prices is the other thing. He wants to claim we're so great. Unfortunately, this article was this was last updated on November 20th from CNBC Financial Network. U.S. gas prices are falling and could hit the cheapest Thanksgiving Day price since 2020. Again, this was last updated Monday, November 20th at 4:40 p.m. Eastern. U.S. drivers can expect the cheapest gas prices on Thanksgiving Day since 2020. And again, remember, 2020, were you driving around? Were you taking vacations? Were you flying to places? This was pre-vaccine. Travel was restricted. This is the same year my daughter ended up going through chemo for several months, and I moved from Southern California to Washington State to be with her, and I drove the 24-hour drive back and forth from Orange County to Spokane, Washington several times because I wasn't going to fly. Gas prices were low because of low demand and the same supply. It's basic economics. The national average for a gallon of regular gas was about $3.31 on Monday, 25 cents cheaper than a month ago, and 36 cents lower than the same period in 2022, according to AAA. The average national price for a gallon of gas could hit $3.25 by Thursday, which would be the cheapest price on Thanksgiving Day since 2020. And again, to reiterate what I just said, when the COVID-19 pandemic crushed demand and gas fell to $2.11 per gallon, according to Gas Buddy. So is Donald Trump taking credit for the low gas prices? Because if that's the case, he's also taking credit for the reason we had low gas prices, which was COVID. Is that what Trump supporters want to hear? That Donald Trump is responsible for COVID and by the transitive property responsible for low gas prices? I don't think so. You see, here's the rub here. Here's the problem with what we're witnessing is Donald Trump will just repeat the lie over and over and over and over and over, and MAGA world will just buy it. And if there's not a counter narrative like this, other people just through osmosis or whatever will start believing the lie too. The rewriting of history is a dangerous thing because others get sucked into it. What we need to do is remember where we were 3 years ago. Remember, even wages. He's talking about 6,000 here, 6,000 there. None of that is true. Wages dropped from 2019 to 2020. like 3% or something. Him talking about $6,000 and now it's $6,000 less under Biden. It's all a manufactured nonsense from the confused, twitchy, watery-eyed weirdo Donald Trump, who is desperate to avoid prosecution. And the only way he can do that is to get himself back in office. If you appreciate my search for charts, my search for data and research and the numbers, the receipts, please consider supporting my work. You can click the join button below, become a channel member for $1.99 a month. You can go over to my Patreon page, which would be fantastic. Patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. Same thing there, same tiers there. And you can hit the super thanks button. But overall, make sure you're subscribed, like and comment this on this video. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. I would appreciate it very much. You can follow me on social media. Tag me on social media when you share this. I'm at Dollemore on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, Facebook, Blue Sky, all of them at Dollemore. I'd love to see you there. I hope you have a fantastic Thanksgiving weekend. If you celebrate Thanksgiving, give thanks. There's a lot to be thankful for. You don't have to be celebrating the origins of the holiday to do so. It's nice to just take a break, be with loved ones, and be thankful for the things that we have. I appreciate you. I love your interaction, your passion for the country and the world, and I'll see you next time. Until then, be genuine. Take care of one another.